Hey everybody, it's Peter. It's day 19 of SSSVEDA blog every day in August, sponsored by Amy Schmidhauer's SavvySexySocial.com website. And today I'm going to talk about traveling. I've been halfway around the world almost. Let's start with I've been as far west as Oahu, Waikiki Beach area back in '78, I believe. I've been as far north as Timmins, Ontario. More of a dare or whatever. We are actually visiting our buddy up in Sudbury, Ontario, which is really far north. It's about how far was it? I think it was a 4-hour drive north of Toronto on a good day with a tailwind. Timmins is 4 more hours north of Sudbury. Basically, my buddy was going to college up in Sudbury. He was studying geology and stuff. Unfortunately, he didn't finish in the end, which kind of sucked, spending all that time up there. But we went up there a couple times for a visit. And the second time, my one friend said, well, hey, why don't we go check out these places? He actually had a tour guide book of the Sudbury area, so we checked out some areas we could find. He said, hey, let's go up to Timmins. And I'm like, it better be worth the drive. And there's a really good picture of us, but it's buried somewhere. I'm not sure where it is, but basically it's my second best friend struggling, my first best friend, when we got up there, sort of like, this had better been a good drive. There's not much to do in Timmins, even though it's the home of Shania Twain. There's one East Side Mario's that we ended up having dinner in. We went up on a Saturday, and there was supposed to be this really well-known Italian place up there, but they don't open on Saturday, so Eastside Mario's. And there's also a non-working gold mine that's just open for tourists. Yeah, so that's northern. I've gone as far south as Grand Bahama Island. I went there twice, actually. Once with my mother and grandfather, I think in high school. And I think the second year I was in the Army and I got some time off, I went, it was owned by Jack Tar Villages was the name of the organization. And for like 1,000 Canadian, that would include airfare, everything inclusive, all your meals. You basically just get a little pictured VIP badge. You just wave around and say like, hey, I'm a VIP. So you drink all you want, eat all you want, hang out. I basically went back to the same hotel, but now Jack Tar was the owner. And I've been as far west as Vienna. Went there twice. Went once when I was 4. That was my first trip as a kid. I went to go see my grandfather, which was my dad's dad, was dying of cancer. So basically it's like, hey, we better go. Dad, I guess, want to go see him one more time before, because I forget how much time after that he actually did die of his ailment. And then we went again. We ran around in 1975. It was like 3 weeks. So landed in Frankfurt and went all the way up to Hamburg. And then down south into the Black Forest. I forget how many greats uncle from my mother's family side who was a monk in a monastery, and we visited him for an afternoon, and eventually ended up in Vienna again to see my dad's family. I've also been to England once with school in '77, and actually half that week trip was spending, that's when the Star Wars first came out. On afternoons, we weren't doing the tourist thing. I ended up finding the local theater, and I saw Star Wars. Yeah, and then I went back again another time on a trip. Actually, yeah, I've been to England like 4 times. So London a couple times. Then I did a trip when the last time I was in England, my BFF was there. He has family on his mother's side. So we're staying with aunts and uncles and cousins and just, touring around for about a week. And got to see quite a bit of the country. The second last time I went, I was on my own to Newcastle, which is just below the Scottish border. There was a big plane crash in the late 80s. And, Lockerbie, that's what it was. And I thought, when you look on the map, it was only like that far of a distance. And I thought, well, when the plane's up in the air, it could have just crashed into Newcastle, and ruined my day. So yeah, I've been quite around a bit. In Canada itself too, also been to Wainwright, which is in Alberta. And we also spent a couple of days in Edmonton, checking out the West Edmonton Mall. So been around all over the place. Been also down to Florida a couple times. Went to Buffalo once. I don't know why. I was actually meeting somebody, but yeah, that was kind of Buffalo in the wintertime. Enough said. Oh, and down in the Ithaca area of New York State. So, been here, there, everywhere. And also when I was in the Army, after my first 2 years up in Northern Ontario, in a place called CFB Petawawa, we don't have forts, we just call them Canadian Forces bases. In the US, everybody calls their places forts, which is not too far from Ottawa, up in that region. And then we were augmenting our troops in Germany. This is again during Cold War. And we were looking for people, so I went over in 85 after our trip to Wainwright, and packed up everything and lived in Germany for 5 years as part of my tour. Germany, I would say, of all the places I've been to, is pretty cool, especially when you're 20 something. It's kind of neat. Like in Ontario, for things like for drinking, you only get drink till 1 at the time. Now it's 2 for I forget how many years. So that was kind of cool. Red light districts are legal. When you're young and you got a couple of bucks in your pocket and you're a lonely soldier, hey, go to the red light zone, go check out a stripper. And just the overall country was nice. Eventually I did get a car. Got a beat up old 1973 VW Bug, which was kind of hard to drive because it broke down a bit. I think out of all the places I visited, living in Germany, which is kind of nice, was basically 2 years, 2, 3. I lived on the base until 87. And then after 87, got a chance to move out and get an apartment. And I stayed in the apartment till mid-90s. And then I got out, packed everything up, and came back to Canada. So yeah, I've traveled around quite a bit. I've enjoyed everywhere I've been to. I couldn't really say there's a favorite place, but I could say Germany has the most memories because, you lived there for a while. So then after 1990, didn't do any more traveling, except for a couple of times to the States to go meet some people. It wasn't really fun. It was like driving the car, and especially crossing the border. My advice is, it's probably worse now since 9/11, but I was driving there before 9/11, and don't cross the border at like 11 o'clock at night because the border guards are really antsy there. And when I'm not impressed with American border guards, and I started calling them more cowboys at the time, they're all literally sitting like this, hand on their weapon, and they're looking at you sideways. And, it's not fun to go through there. But for such a wonderful country, as everybody goes on about with the States, I hate to say they're xenophobic. And nowadays, with the orange monkey in charge, it's not any better. Yeah, the other point I didn't finish either, since 90s, didn't do much traveling, just mostly road trips. And my BFF actually got into this habit of, I forget when he started, I think it was on our 40th. It was either our 40th or 45th birthdays. He said, oh, we're going to do the cottage thing because my second BFF who went missing, or MIA as they say, his parents had a nice cottage. We went up there twice, which was kind of cool. And one other time we went, the parents actually built their own cottage, basically, tore down an old place and, built the place from the ground up. That was nice to stay to. And also been up to places like Perry Sound, which is about 2 to 3 hours north of Toronto for cottage country stuff. And then we went to Midland, Ontario, which is not too far, about an hour and a half. We've gone to Peterborough. So basically all these places in and around Toronto, which is basically cottage country. If you go one way, it's called Muskoka country, and I forget what you call. Then there's like Kawartha Lakes. We have all these sort of Indian, Aboriginal kind of names of the areas. Next plan is for next summer to go up to a place near what's called Lake Simcoe, which is my parents used to have a cottage up there. Again, it's about an hour's drive without any traffic, north of Toronto, and it's nice country up there. And my friend's going to find a place. There's going to be 4 of us. It's going to be him, one of his best friends, and another fellow who I've known. He's actually a fellow from my friend's work. And the 4 of us do this thing. We used to be like the 3 amigos, me and my 2 best friends, and we lost the one friend because he just went missing one day. Broke contact with us. And another person joined our party, and now we're up to 4. We even got 3 Musketeer beer mugs as sort of a traditional thing. And when we go on the trips too, I end up doing the cooking, which I don't mind. I like cooking. I do up the breakfast and stuff like that. The other guys end up doing the dishes. And we'll just, pick up a bunch of groceries, stop at the liquor store, and, have a nice weekend up north, enjoying ourselves for about like a 3-4 day weekend kind of thing. So what's your favorite place to go to? Do you have any favorite travel places? Where have you been? What have you seen? Have you got a book on it? Comment below. as you know, like if you like, dislike if you don't like, hit subscribe somewhere over here, ring the bell, and we'll see you tomorrow.